The resolution announced last night creates a step towards healing and to address the hurt felt by many. The Hawthorn Football Club is a very special place. It's a very special place because of the people who have been and are still involved. Whenever an organisation becomes aware of a potential issue within its four walls, it needs to look into it appropriately. When it was first raised that some of our past players and staff had concerns, it was important we reached out to them. In fact, I would say we had a duty to do so. When we set out to do a welfare check on our past and present First Nations players and staff, it was with the very best intentions and in good faith. We simply wanted to check in on the well-being of past First Nations players and staff to see if they needed any extra support. The club provided that report to AFL Integrity, not only because we are required to do so, but it was also the appropriate avenue to have the allegations tested and investigated. It was also our expectation that this would allow all parties to give their versions of events. As Gillen said last night, the leaking of that work had a significant impact. It did not allow for a fair and just process. The Hawthorn Football Club is an inclusive environment for everyone. I want to be clear that we are extremely focused on maintaining this and ensuring we are leaders in this space. Our job now is to listen and learn to every single party involved in this matter and be better for it. My commitment is to ensure that this happens. Every single person involved is a Hawthorn person. I sincerely hope that one day, whenever Alistair, Chris, Jason and other former players and staff are ready, we can rebuild that relationship. It may not be easy, but it is our job as a club to work at it and make that happen. Our door will always be open to each and every one of them.
Andy, you also said last night that the Hawthorn Football Club is at risk of being charged with bringing the game into disrepute. Have you done that?
Tony, there are a number of discussions ongoing with the AFL. Of course, we'd be extremely disappointed if this matter led to sanctions, including financial. But what I would say is we went into this process with the best of intention. I don't think anybody is questioning that.
Jeff Kennett on Neil Mitchell this morning said that he's written to the AFL commissioners asking them to withdraw any such investigation that might lead to charges against your club. Do you support that move by Jeff?
Look, Jeff's a former president of the club and we're dealing with this matter internally.
But do you feel as though you as a club has been hung out to dry?
I wouldn't put it like that. I think that this has been an extraordinarily complex issue. I want to keep coming back to this. The intention here was absolutely in the best interest of everybody involved. So that's really important to remember. So what did we do? We reached out to former players and staff and we asked them the questions. How do you feel about your time here? And do you need extra support? That is a perfectly natural thing to do. And I don't think anybody listening or watching to this would think differently.
Andy, do you know where the leak came from?
Beg your pardon?
Do you know where the leak came from?
No, I do not know where the leak came from. I do not.
Is there any suggestion it's internal at Hawthorn?
Not that I'm aware of, no. I don't have any evidence to that fact. But it's clear that once the information was leaked, then this thing became a very big matter. And as I just explained, the process of having everybody have the opportunity to explain their version of events would hopefully have prevented this situation.
Gil said last night that he expects any potential charges against Hawthorn to be done relatively quickly. Would you prefer that it's over sooner rather than later?
As I said, we're in constant communication with the AFL and we will work with them to to resolve this matter. So what happened yesterday was one step. There is obviously more to play out, and that's one thing that needs to be resolved.
How concerned are you, Andy? How concerned are you about the potential that the families pursue separate civil litigation against the club?
Yep, well that may happen. So what we would love to happen, and what I personally would love to see happen, is an opportunity for the families and our staff and our coaches to have an opportunity to be listened to be heard, and that hopefully will provide an opportunity for healing as well. So I don't want to preempt what will or won't happen, or might not happen. That's for those parties and us to resolve, and that's part of the melting pot here. Is there are a number of issues that need to be talked through, and hopefully we get that opportunity.
And you want it to be a party? How would that manifest? What would that look like?
Well, we're open to what that looks like.
Andy, also last night, Gil McLaughlin issued an apology to the AFL's Indigenous community. Are you offering an apology?
We, as I said before, we look forward to an ongoing dialogue with all parties, and what I'm here to do today is not rule anything in or rule anything out. We're completely open to what the landscape looks like from here.
But down the track there could be an apology, but not at the moment?
We are open to all discussions.
Do you want to be a party, Andy, did you want to be a party to the AFL and the families resolution yesterday?
So I didn't hear your question.
Did you want to be part of that? Did you want the Hawks to be part of the resolution that came with the Hawks?
Well, look, yeah.
Are you working towards that?
What happened yesterday was an announcement about a resolution between the parties and the AFL. So we weren't party to that. But as I said, we look forward to continuing discussions with the AFL and the First Nations families and our past employees, and having dialogue with all of them.
Would you have liked part of that? You're working towards that though, wouldn't you?
We've been in constant dialogue.
But would you have liked to have been party to it last night?
Well, we've always been party to discussions, yeah.
But the resolution? Hawthorn received any claims for financial compensation from any families that have been involved in this?
Not that I'm aware of.
Andy, should you have spoken to the three former employees before you handed the report to the AFL Integrity Unit, and do you have any regrets about how that process played out at your end?
So according to AFL rules, this report needed to be handed to AFL Integrity, and so we have played this by the book in that regard. And look, in terms of what could or couldn't have happened, that's something for another day, I think. But as far as the intentions were clear. The report was received, handed over to AFL Integrity, and as I said in my statement before, the opportunity for for all parties to give their version of events did not eventuate, and that would have been preferable.
If this happened again, how would the club handle it?
I'm unsure how to answer that question. I think you start with best intentions. That was a tick. Then I think again it's a question maybe for another day, because we're getting ahead of the story. It hasn't been resolved yet, so we need to work our way through that. And as I am keeping on saying, the dialogue with those parties has not been able to happen, and we welcome that. We want the opportunity for listening, for learning, and hopefully the opportunity for healing.
One of the big criticisms though from those three is they never got a chance with the club to tell their side of the story. So would you do that part of the process differently?
It's certainly extremely unfortunate that they haven't had an opportunity to be heard, and that's what I'm saying. That the listening bit and the hearing and hopefully some healing, that's what we would welcome. Yep.
McLaughlin said last night that any potential penalties to Hawthorn could be decided by the AFL Commission. Would it be appropriate, in your view, for Andrew Newbold to be a part of that, or do you think he should potentially step out of it?
Look, I think that's a matter for the Commission.
Andy,
And just on Andrew, sorry, just at the time that the report was released, Andrew was named in it. There was obviously a lot of talk, a lot of references in the report about emails, and Hawthorn said at the time that there'd be an investigation into that matter. Is there an update on that?
No, I don't have an update for you on that one.
You said you've been in constant discussion with the AFL. No adverse findings have been made, yet sanctions are still possible. Do you know what the basis of those sanctions could be? be, and what in the higher end that you could be facing as a club?
Look, I don't know technically I mean, there were a couple of things that were potentially discussed last night, like, for example, the Catchall bringing the game into disrepute, but what that looks like, I'm unsure of. We need to work through that with the AFL, and we need to communicate strongly. And you know, Hawthorn members, they need to understand that this was done with the best of intentions. It wasn't even commissioned as a report to start with. It was a welfare check on our past First Nations players and staff, and that opportunity was, unfortunately, as Gil said last night, it was leaked, and that blew everything up. Otherwise, I think those people would have got the opportunity to be heard.
And you said you wouldn't want to receive a monetary fine as a result of this. Is there any kind of sanction that you'd be happy with that you would be offering as a kind of compromise, or would you like to see none?
Well, I mean, in a perfect world there'd be none, but I think we're disappointed that this is the nature of the discussion. We went into this with the best of intentions. Where it ended up, no one is happy about. That's clear. But the dialogue between all parties has not been able to happen to this point. We would welcome that, and we think that is an opportunity for people to be heard, to tell their truth, and to heal, as I said before.
And if the AFL Commission did deem you, in violation of the game, including disrepute,
Yep.
and whatever sanction that might be, monetary, points, draft picks, whatever, would you be prepared to take that further in terms of fighting that?
I think we're getting ahead of what might happen, mightn't happen. So we would have to assess that at the time if that was the case. But we will be in what I would describe as very close communication with the AFL, and we'll work through it.
Andy, are you satisfied with how Phil Egan conducted the inquiry?
Look, the engagement of Bin Mata, as I said, was done with the best of intention. I think the issue that it was in Gillen's statement last night, and we've reiterated it here today. The leak to the media was very unfortunate. I mean, that's putting it mildly. So that part of it was very unfortunate. I'm not suggesting I know who did that or how that happened, but that was incredibly unfortunate.
Have you read John Middleton?
How much will the club look inward in this, in that, staff members that were here at the time, board members that were here at the time and oversaw this? Will that be an element as well?
We are always looking inward at how we can do things better. Football clubs are in a constant state of self-assessment, and so from the very top to the bottom of the organisation, we're always reviewing things, we're always assessing how we're going. It's an elite performance environment, so naturally we're always building, we're always growing, and that will continue to happen.
Have you read Judge John Middleton's report?
No.
How's the feeling at the club today? Have you been in conversation with any of the players or other senior members about this?
I've been in discussions with senior members of staff here. Look, I think the mood is one of it's mixed emotions, because the announcement last night by the AFL, in one sense, is a step towards a resolution, a broader resolution, but it's only one part of it because it only involves the players. So a final resolution will involve us, the AFL, and also our former staff on top of that. So there's mixed emotions, because although it was a resolution for one or two parties in a sense, it's not total resolution, and we're not able to move on completely. But so that we have mixed emotions about it.
The panel obviously hasn't provided its report, and that hasn't been released. Obviously, they were sort of running the investigation while this resolution has obviously been reached between the AFL and the parties involved. Would the club have preferred that the investigation panel have run its full course, written its report, and finished it that way before the resolution was released?
Well, my understanding is the panel has run its full course, so we may not have seen a report yet, but it has reached its conclusion, and it's over. So that part's resolved.
It all happened pretty quickly last night. How much warning were you given before the press conference and the four-page statement was released?
Not a lot of time, but it was something that did happen fairly quickly. But as I said, we welcome that finding last night and that resolution. But there's more to play out.
Andy, these First Nations families clearly wanted to talk about their experiences. Is referring to this as a league muddying the waters?
Look, I'll go back to something I said before, and I've said a number of times. So far, that the families have maybe to some degree seen the media as a way of communicating. We really would love the opportunity to sit with them and listen to them and give them that opportunity to speak and tell their truth. So, as we would with the coaches and staff as well. So, this is something that we're open to, and we look forward to that opportunity if it can happen.
With them going to the media, does that suggest they weren't being heard internally, or they felt as though they weren't?
Well, they weren't part of the organisation when that happened. They'd already left.
In terms of the communication that was going on?
Sorry?
In terms of the communication that was still ongoing, they obviously didn't feel as if they were being heard, otherwise they wouldn't have felt they had to go to the media to seek a resolution.
Well, I can't answer that one. That's I don't know what they were thinking.
Is one option paying compensation, Andy, is admitting no fault? If that option comes up?
Possibly. I'm not sure.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you all.